Welcome back to Your 1230, the only podcast where our guests tell their story with the help of 12 questions in just 30 minutes. I'm your host, Mike Solitro, and today we are really excited to be speaking with James Elliot from Unleash Your Power. For over 20 years, James has been an accomplished and sought-out leader in neuro-linguistic programming trainer. His NLP trainings are the best in the world. Combined with his passion to help others, overcoming past challenges, personal growth, and his experience, he is well positioned to help you become a highly effective, unstoppable coach and leader. James, welcome. Really happy to talk to you today.
Excited to be here, Mike. Excited to be here. I was looking forward to this today.
Very nice. Me too. Me too. And we've had a few conversations, and I always leave them with a wealth of knowledge and more questions, obviously. So hopefully we'll dive into some of those today. My first being, I feel like it's fairly common, but for anybody who's not familiar, NLP, what does that stand for? What does that mean when you train, when you work with it, when you mentor others?
Good question. Good question. So NLP stands for neuro linguistic programming, which doesn't say time. It's a little cryptic. I think it should be called neuro linguistic reconditioning or reprogramming, if you will. I'll tell you what it does, and then I'll tell you where it came from. What it does essentially is it allows us to reprogram our brain, the programs in our brain, the habits, the actions, behaviors, lack of positive habits that will create success in our life, or it helps us reprogram the sabotaging behaviors, or that voice in our head we get, or the little gremlin in our back, devil on our shoulder, so to speak, that tells us we can't do something, we're not good enough, someone's not going to buy from us. You can't do that, or it's not possible. You can't make money doing that. All this junk that's in our head from growing up that comes from family, parents, grandparents, culture, religion, society, news, media, teachers, all this stuff that went into us and stuck to us like glue when we were younger. Because when we're very young, our brains are A, very malleable, and B, also very, very, very sticky. So stuff goes in and it sticks. So with NLP, you can help reprogram a lot of these things, let go of a lot of the subconscious or unconscious junk that's there, and literally become unstoppable in a very, very quickly as well, without years and years of therapy or training or whatever. My trainings, people come out and 5 to 8 days later, unstoppable person, a whole new person. And part of the reason because of this is that one of the tools I teach and some of the breakthroughs we have in the course are from, again, like you mentioned, NLP. And NLP comes from modeling the most successful people in the world, CEOs, speakers, top teachers, therapists, leaders, captains of industry, psychologists, psychotherapists, philosophers. And they've taken all this huge body of research and they've boiled it down to things that just work. What are the core principles, core ways of being, thinking, acting, deciding, taking action? What are those core ways of being that make people successful? Like, do we have to dance around a fire and chant, or can we just do a subset of what they do, or do very specific things to what these most successful people in the world do, and thus will become very, very successful as well? So there's the two things, the two bits about it, what it is and really where it comes from, because it allows people to unleash their potential and become unstoppable in the pursuit of really whatever it is that they want. And it applies to anyone doing anything better. And we'll get into that. It's fairly cryptic as well, but we can certainly get into that as well. But really, you'll do everything better, easier, faster, stronger, make more money, working less with a hell of a lot less burnout, and of course, a heck of a lot more fun and freedom in your life. So that's what I promise with the tools in the course. And it's a ton of fun to teach, because I learn something every time I teach the courses and help people and speak as well.
Well, thank you for that background, James. I love how you kind of reposition it as reprogramming, because a lot of us have had our brains programmed either consciously or subconsciously without even realizing that we have certain beliefs or habits that were developed by things we didn't know we were doing, things others influenced us into believing. So I really like the way that you position that there. Kind of following up, before we hit record, we were kind of just chatting, and you mentioned I help people get out of their own way, which sounds simple, but can really be difficult. And kind of with your first answer, most of us don't realize that we are doing that. So how, in such a short amount of time, 5 days, how do you help people do that?
Yeah, really good question. So get, like I said, 5 days, 8 days, sometimes less even. looking at the deeper subconscious programming. People have heard that we use 10% of brain, 5% of our brain. We use the whole brain. That's technically a myth. We use our whole entire brain. However, we only use about 5%, give or take 5 to 10% consciously. The rest is unconscious or subconscious, as people refer to it as. It's a part of our brain that has our lungs breathe, our body digest, our heart beat, those kind of things. Get scared and run, or sabotage, or blow something up, figuratively, not well, sometimes literally as well. But figuratively, anyways, is what I'm referring to. Again, sabotaging different jobs, businesses, relationships, our health, sabotaging our health, because we don't consciously think, well, I'd really like to eat a big cake today or eat a bunch of junk and not go to the gym. I'd really like to get nervous when it comes to talking to this person or asking for a raise or promotion or selling to this customer. We don't think that consciously. And neither do we think consciously, okay, remember 1 + 1 is 2, Mike, 1 + 1 is 2, and walking around the rest of our lives. So our subconscious mind, again, it's all our autonomic functions, all learning. Again, we don't walk around 1 + 1 is 2 all day long. All our learning, our behaviors, our changes, it's all subconscious or unconscious, as I like to say. So by helping people figure out, okay, well, I'm doing this, I'm not doing this, why? And really understanding the deep levels and deep structure of subconsciously what drives them to do something or to not do something, to lean away from something they want, for example, or to lean towards something they don't want, whether it's, I don't know, alcohol, distractions, procrastination, resistance, smoking, drugs, whatever it is, workaholism, workaholism, that is also a strategy, a coping strategy as well. People say, I love what I do, and I do too. And we need to rest. We do need to rest. I think it can be a coping strategy if you're working crazy hours with no time for anything else. I think it's an avoidance strategy, or there's something built in there. Anyways, without judgment, of course. All that to say, when we dig down and drill down into the why, and then, of course, that people are doing something or not doing something, help them realize that there's something there. There's a reason for it. Then using NLP and a lot of other powerful tools, we can change this. We can basically rip that weed out, because instead of talking about the problem or more and more training and more courses or discipline or a carrot or a stick, well, that's again, or talking about the problem, and so many support groups. I've had people come to me from support groups, and they said, James, I want to leave the support group. I want to work with you because all we do is talk about the problem, and that's not getting any of us better. And unfortunately, that can be a problem. So again, looking at the deeper structure, what's going on, why it's there, what was decided, or what is believed, or what is decided, or just the baggage, the trauma, the negative emotions, the stuff that's there causing this or preventing something positive happening. Using some powerful techniques, like I said, we remove that during the courses. We have people get amazing ahas, different ways of looking at life, people, problems differently. Again, I love working with amazing people. Business leaders, business owners are some of my favorite folks to work with as well. Entrepreneurs, business leaders, because I love making differences in people's lives, especially people who can make a difference in other people's lives too, and in their own and others' lives. So that's what we do. Really, we seek and destroy the problems, and instead of talking about it, we look, because NLP is results-based training, results-based coaching. It's all results-based. Let's look toward the future and what prevents you, and where you want to go. And well, then let's get you there. Let's remove the blocks that stop you. Let's give you tools. Very importantly, teach someone to fish versus give them a fish. I'm a big fan of teach someone to fish. And by teaching someone to fish, let's give you the tools for life. You can go out there to be successful for life. You can self-heal, self-manage, self-empower for life as well. So it's really cool after the courses to see people empowered and starting businesses mid-course, stopping businesses if it's not aligned with them, asking for promotions and raises, people stopping relationships, people starting or getting deeper with relationships, healing relationships, in fact, because again, the different ways they're being, the different ways they're thinking, the blocks are no longer stopping them. And a lot of the animosity, whether it's to self or others, or the judgment that's there to self or others, is gone. So I hope that's a good answer to your question.
It definitely is. And I'm writing down notes over here because I've got so many follow-ups that I want. And first, I want to hit on, I love how you talk about the myth of using only part of our brain and then give that example of we're not walking around saying, all right, this is basic math that I got to have to keep up. Nope, that's up there all the time. We may not be actively using it, but it's there. Same with, I've never really heard it put that way, but I'll say it's brilliant. I don't want to be nervous when I talk to this guy, or I don't want to not have any confidence when I ask for a raise later. But it's in our mind, something in our mind is wired that way, and we have to identify and ultimately try to fix it. So, kind of with that vein, do you find most people, and you talked about substance work, overworking, or something that's they're doing that is something they want removed from their lives? Do people know what they want removed, where the problems, where the obstacles are, or is part of it helping them find what is blocking them, or what is stopping them from going to where they want to go?
Right on, right on. Yes. So I would say both. Both. It depends on the person, how much work they've done, how much introspection they've done, if they've looked at things that they haven't. So I would say both. Although yes, a big part of it is finding that and even going deeper, because people may know some of it, they may know part of it, they may know certain levels deep. Okay, it had to do with my mom or my dad or growing up, or this I failed at this or failed at that. They may know part of it, or the theme perhaps, or the area where the theme came from. Although yes, it almost always revolves and involves digging deeper and expanding more on things. And that way, instead of having a weed in your garden, for example, instead of picking the flower off and it grows back, you pick the leaves off, the weed grows back. You pick the stem off, the weed grows back. But then when you reach down, you find that root, the root of the problem, and you rip the root out of the ground and throw it away. Then the weed, if you will, metaphorically, in your garden, in your mind, is gone. So yes, a big part of it is helping people find that, or dig down deeper, because a lot of people are aware of perhaps where it come from, in my childhood, or was this or that, or this happened or that happened. Some not at all, but a lot of people are aware. And again, so digging down really deeply into the root of things, and what prevents them from being a great leader or a great entrepreneur, a great communicator, speaker, salesperson, which we all are. We're selling success or buying bullshit, as one of my mentors always says, and I believe it. You selling success or buying people's BS? And I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it does. So yeah.
Okay, nicely done. And the other thing that I didn't mention that I wanted to, that I think is really important, is the results-based training, and that the focus on tools that are transferable, learning how to do something versus here's high-level strategy, or here's something soft versus this is the result you actually can get, and here's how you can get them. So I think that's really important. We talked about before we hit record some upcoming trainings. If you could talk a little bit about that, and then also what does, if somebody would like to be involved, are these in person, are these online, or how do they get to work with you, James?
Great question. Well, thanks to the pandemic, it's again, there's a blessing in every curse, and as you know, I would also say a curse in every blessing. So due to the pandemic, my course is now live on Zoom, whether it's the 5-day, whether it's the 8-day transformational courses, they're live on Zoom. And what that allows me to do is, and I found it's better. That's why I'm not going back, at least for this course. I'm not going back. In retreats, of course, we'll do in person, things like that. However, some of these courses, I find they work better on Zoom because we're attracting people from all over the world, parts of Europe, UK, US, Canada. And it's really cool how we can attract people from all over the world. And people can meet and connect with people from all over the world and hear people's problems, hear their solutions, hear their ahas, because they become your ahas as well, your solutions. And it's amazing seeing people get breakthroughs from other people's breakthroughs. That's really cool. And I mean, again, like I said, I learn. Avoid being too egotistical, and never be not humble enough to be able to learn from your clients. Heck, learn from kids, learn from anyone. That's why I keep growing. I love learning, and I'm open versus a know-it-all or the ego getting in the way. Have your commitment come before your ego, so that you're able to, okay, well, I know a lot, or I'm good at what I do. I'm very confident in what I do. People say to me, hey, how confident you are you can help, or hey, how good is your course? And I say, I'm one of the best in the world at this. I'm 1,000% sure I can help you, and that what I do will change your life. And that's I guess a bit of ego talking, but in a humble way, because I want to serve. So it's that balance between ego, which is important, but also your commitment to do your best to continue serving people, and thus learning and growing is one of the best ways to continue serving people better and better, or at the very least, keeping up with the rest of the market too. So there's another thing too.
There you go. And just to throw the dates, I think you said first week in March and in June as well, as far as upcoming trainings. We'll post links if anyone is interested in checking those out. And then just following up, wanted to build off something that you mentioned again, that it's while it's cryptic or kind of doesn't always make sense on its face, the trying to get better and coupled with learning from anyone, understanding that it is a journey and that there's going to be something that can be taken away from any conversation, any person that we meet, any situation, that I'm on a path and that it is never filled. So that, I mean, that comes across in kind of the way you talk about everything. And that's just kind of what we really agree with. And I think that's what has really helped everything that we've talked about.
Oh, exactly.
And kind of with that, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned best in the world, which some will say, wow, that's really impressive. You have to be confident in what you do, and you have to have faith that, yes, I'm saying that because I believe it. My clients get the results that they want. How have you been able to build to that point, and how do you help clients get to a similar standing where even if they're not the best in the world at what they do, they are light years ahead of where they were when they met you 5 or 8 days before?
So a lot of things, again, removing the blocks, the doubts, the making up a failure in their mind. I mean, anxiety is about the future, of course, because we're worried about things that haven't happened yet. So it's the future. We're making it up. We're making up crap. So if we're going to make it up anyways, because it hasn't happened yet, well, why don't we make it up good? And so teaching them really looking and looking and thinking about what they want, changing the way their brain works essentially is to focus on what it is they want and what it is they want to have versus I can't do this, or I don't want that, and this is a reason, or that is a reason. I mean, we're human nature, and I think we're a bit biologically evolved as well this way, because in the old days, many years ago, many years ago, fear would kept us safe. Now, I mean, again, especially first world, North America, Europe, there's not a lot that's going to kill us. There's not a lot of danger in the world, but yet our lizard brain back here in our brainstem, our amygdala, is still very well developed, much more than our prefrontal cortex here. That's our prefrontal cortex is what makes us human. And it's also why humans are flat faces. We don't have a snout like an animal, because this part here, where normally an animal's snout would be, is taken up by brain matter, which again makes us different. So go back to your answer question. The circular question is to let stuff go, all the stuff that has been beaten into us, sometimes figuratively, sometimes literally, in life, and also have people, instead of looking, well, I don't want this, I don't want that, I'm sick of this, have them literally turn and focus on all the things that they want, all the important things, and have those, again, keep your eye on the prize, is what I learned in baseball when I was a kid. Keep your eye on the prize. And focus on what you want. Again, like you said, results-based training and coaching. Focus on what you want. Let go of limiting beliefs. Find things that'll motivate you there, goals, the big goals that'll move you. And yes, have a bit of a stick because it helps. Accountability definitely helps, And just to have people, you asked a question and I want to make sure I answer it concisely. How do people, if they're just starting out, or maybe they're good, but maybe not the best in the world yet? Well, my guidance is to have a mission to become the best in the world of what you do. And even that intention alone will help you grow fast and help you be one of the best in the world right now. Because just because someone has all kinds of credentials or 50 years of experience or this and that, in my mind, it doesn't make them necessarily the best in the world. I think it's a lot to do with the relationship between whoever, a coach and client, either a real estate agent and a buyer, a boss and an employee, whatever it is. I think that's the most important thing. That's been proven actually as well by science, that the relationship is more important than the tools or the how. And if you believe in someone's success, again, prove my science, that in and of itself, in psychology language, it's called transference and countertransference. If you believe that someone will be successful, they're dramatically more likely to be successful. If you believe they're not going to be successful, no matter what accolades and training and years you have, that will directly impact them if you don't think they're going to be successful or they don't think they can be successful. And that's huge. Prove my science. Transference, countertransference. And that's why a lot of times certain employees, certain teams, certain people, certain students, they don't win. And we don't have time for me to go into the studies about teachers being told, hey, these are amazing A students and they do well. And these are horrible students and they do magically, they do poorly in class, right? So again, it's whether there's the teacher, the leader, the mentor, coach, boss, parent believes they'll be successful. And then lastly, just making sure people are the most outspoken they can be, the most concise, congruent, articulating their point, showing value, giving value, give, then get, right? Give, get, showing value, giving value, and also creating that trust, that rapport, that influence, and that persuasion, because, well, we buy from people we know, we like, and trust. So developing that, even if you're not the best at the world, and your client, they may not resonate with the person that's the best in the world. They may resonate with you and connect with you, even though you're not maybe the best in the world or one of the best yet. Be your best, be the best, and best yourself every day, grow every day. And I think that's all that really matters. And again, aim to give your best, aim to give your best. I think that is, and then you get better and better and better and better.
Yeah, that's kind of the takeaway, that if you are acting at your best with the mission to always get better and a target towards being that, lofty best in whatever, that I'm giving my best today, I'm going to get better tomorrow, and that's the mindset, and it always continues. So that's kind of a great place to be.
It is, and it's just asking yourself, how can I serve people, and even ask your clients, even how can I serve you better? But thinking, how can I serve this person better? How can I give them so much that, and this will help with the confidence too, especially at first. Why is my thing, whatever your thing is, why is my thing worth 10 times what I charge for it? And then that's going to make them think, holy, I gotta buy this thing before Mike realizes he's charging so little. And even your mind is like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm selling it for this low. It's a steal. You should buy my thing, whatever my thing is. And it's a different energy going across as well. And just writing down all the reasons why your stuff is worth 10 times. That's another thing that helps people at the beginning too. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I thought, let me add that, because I think that'll be helpful for people starting out, even just starting out. Why are you worth way more than you charge, even if you're just starting out? What is it? What are all the reasons? I think it's a very helpful exercise to do.
No need for an apology there. That was very helpful. Thank you for jumping back in. I did want to change gears a moment, though. We've talked a lot about your program and your training, but you've also spoken to some pretty large audiences. So I know that's a little bit of a different skill set. What is it like walking up on those stairs to get to that stage? How have you prepared yourself, and any good / funny stories that you'd like to share?
That's a really good question, actually. I love that one, because you're right. It's similar mindset I teach, similar tools I teach when I'm teaching, when speaking to teams, speaking to leaders, whoever it is, whether it's a big real estate office, whether it's a big association, whoever it is. And like you said, I've spoken to names big and small. I love doing both. What I tell people to become a great speaker, because again, speaking is more feared than death for some reason. And I don't know why. I just, sure, do I get nervous sometimes? Sure, absolutely. I'm not saying I've never get nervous. I walk on without a care in the world. No. However, my brain, my mindset is at a place where I'm so much about service and giving them my best. Again, the mindset, how do I give them my best? That'll take you completely or almost completely out of fear and worry and anxiety. How do I give them my best? What can I do? How do I give them my best and my best stuff? And how can I serve? How can I be of the most service? What can I do? And that will automatically, whether you're a speaker, or whether it's one-on-one, whether it's a small group, big group, whatever, you're a teacher, leader, entrepreneur, how can I give them my best? What do they need? What can I give them? How do I serve them the best way possible? And that gets me excited, and usually gets other people excited too. What can I give? What can I teach? What are they going to get out of this? What awesome stuff can I give them? What awesome stuff are they going to walk away with? How can I change their lives, even if it's in a small way? And that will shift the mindset from, oh, I hope they like me. Oh, I hope I'm good. I hope they don't boo me. Are they going to like what I'm saying? Are they get bored? Are they going to check out? Is everyone going to be on their damn, their phones and all this stuff? Whatever it is, it gets you out of that mindset. Just be of service. Aim to serve. Aim to give your best, because no one can ask for perfection. It doesn't exist. And those that judge others are usually, can get this, guys, listen. Those that judge others the most harshly are usually the most self-judging and harsh on themselves too. I've met many people that are kind. They're kind to others, kind on themselves. Many people that judge and they're harsh on others. Well, if you look in private, they're actually very harsh on themselves too. Interesting to see. And again, remember that there's no failure. There's only feedback. Which way? Just like this one here says, that's why it's actually, it was sideways the other day. And someone said, well, I think you should keep your failure one sideways. So I did. So there's no failure anyways. There's only feedback, right? There's only lessons learned. There's only growth. the only way not to grow and not to learn, the only way to fail truly is to not do it, is to give up, not take action. That's the only way to fail, because then you'll fail by default. You won't achieve what you want. You won't do the things. You won't be proud of the things you did. And so these are some things, and embrace your failures. My first speeches weren't as glorious as now, and these now are not as glorious as they're going to be. My first YouTube videos, TikToks, again, weren't as glorious as they are now, and right now they're definitely not as good as they will be. So I think that's something to really understand. Just again, serve, give your best. You're always getting better anyways. And if you screw up, if you make a mistake, whatever, you can always apologize and start over and say, hey, can I try that again? Or can we have another call? Can I have a second chance? Or hey, I'd like to make this right. Whenever we screw up, it is just apologize, find a way to fix it, take responsibility, which is one of the best leadership qualities, no matter who you are. Take responsibility for the outcome you want.
So many good things there. I'm going to try to hit on each one that I would like to. I'm definitely going to leave something out, but I'm going to start here. Going back to what you mentioned, that our brain is wired with fear, but in most of our day-to-day, there's nothing that's going to kill us. There's nothing life-threatening. And that goes hand in hand with take responsibility. It's even if it goes poorly, there's not, maybe I was nervous, I was anxious. If I own up to it, they're probably going to be okay with it. Let me have that second chance, especially if, and I love the way you reframed it and shift, how do I give my best as opposed to, are they going to like me? Coming from that place of service, coming from, this is what the audience is looking for. How do I live up? How can I provide something that they're looking for in doing so my best? And then lastly, the failure versus feedback. Again, the shift of the way to think about it, that yes, that went poorly, but how can I do better next time? Okay, this was not what I expected, but it kind of went okay. And here's how I can be prepared. And then really lastly, my past, I tried it. It was good, not as good as today. And it's going to be better in the future. Just always, you're on that cycle, and that even in the future, it's still going to be potential to get better down the line. So I like how all those kind of concepts build on each other.
Exactly. And so many people, they're striving for perfection. They don't take action or release their website or their course or their book or their speech or their whatever, their business, until it's perfect. And it never ever will be, and it definitely won't be perfect the first time. So do it, get the feedback, run it. Even if there's one or two people that come, run it, get feedback, get advice, ask, avoid having too much ego not to ask, how can I serve better? How can I do better? How could that have gone better? What else can I give you? What would you like? What do you need? And I think you're going to get a really, really great response from people, especially when you're interested in giving your best and you're authentic. I mean, years ago, I started on stage. I said, hey, there's a lot of you here. And honestly, I'm a little nervous because I want to give you guys my best. And I think you guys are awesome. I want to give you some amazing stuff today. And I got a round of applause within the first, 35 seconds of my speech, because they're like, oh, wow, we have someone that's authentic and raw and real. And because there's so much, am I allowed to swear on your BS? There's so much BS these days that people love. I mean, you see it, someone at Facebook where that's not even their car, that's not even their girlfriend or wife, or that's not even their vacation home or whatever. It's just so fake, or they have a fancy car, but they can barely pay their rent, or they have a whatever, but they can barely whatever, right? So it is interesting, and just to be raw and real and authentic. People don't crave perfection. People don't want perfection because it's so hard to connect with. They're so far away. If you pretend to be perfect, you're so far away, it's actually going to kill your business and kill your sales, because people can't connect with you. You're way over here, they can't connect, versus, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm a few levels or number of levels above you or after you, or I've learned, I'm ahead of you. Tell you what, I can take you up here. And as you grow, they'll come up with you. Versus, oh, I'm so awesome and perfect, and look at this it's not my car, but I'm going to pretend it is, or this is, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Or, oh, this is my perfect life, my perfect vacation, or I never have a day I look bad, whatever it is, right? It's just all BS. And people love realness, real, raw, be authentic, be open with people. And that's going to get you a lot of credibility, authority, because they can trust you. There's so much distrust these days. If you show you can be trusted and you're open and honest, trust me, that will be so changing and such a growth area to what you do. Be open, be honest. And you don't have to open the kimono and show them everything, right? However, be open, be a little vulnerable, whether it's a sales meeting or a date or whatever. Be open, be real with people. Share some of your stories, share some failures, share some wins. And they're like thinking in their head, oh my God, they're not perfect. They're like me. Wow, I've had some failures too. They start sharing, the conversation starts going, and you develop a real relationship, versus talking about the weather and high level elevator talk, which no one's going to learn from you that way. No one's going to like you or trust you or buy from you that way, or want to be led by you that way. be real, be authentic. That is authentic leadership is, I think, what we really need, and what's going to make you the most successful.
Absolutely. It's that authentic connection. And it's that, hey, they might be ahead of me, but they're not perfect. And we have this in common. And that's how you can kind of build that relationship and take it forward. I love it. Somehow we are already at time. We
Beautiful.
did cover a good amount of ground. Anything I didn't ask you that I should have today, James?
That's a great question. These are amazing questions. Like you said, I appreciate you sharing the events coming up March 3rd and June 12th, starting March 3rd and starting June 12th. Different 5-day and 8-day Unleash Your Potential events. If it's of interest, see, we all make mistakes. If it's of interest, please feel free, unleashyourpower.com, or send me an email, james@unleashyourpower.com. Mike, I believe you're going to share some of my channels, booking links, and YouTube channel as well, which is awesome. I guess, asking me what makes me different or unique. If you want, that might be kind of a cool question. Why not? We could do that.
Let's do that.
Beautiful, beautiful. One of the things that makes me unique is that people say that everyone says they care, and I do. I'm really, really authentic that way. However, the big thing that really makes me unique is that I support people along the way. I don't go away. I support people in everything I do. I mean, yes, I have masterminds. I have free community nights for all my folks. I have free trainings for all my grads. I stay in touch. There's coaching. There's all kinds of great stuff. But what really makes me different is that I stay in touch with people, invite them out to live events, to virtual events, just to call, how are you doing? What's working? What's not working? What do you need? I have a few minutes. Do you need anything? How can I serve? How can I support? What is it that you need? And that, I think that staying in touch and really showing people that I want to support them, and they are supported. I'm not going anywhere. I think that's why I'm so fortunate to have so many great Google reviews and so many great video testimonials. People are happy to do that because of, again, that going above and beyond. It's natural in me, and whether it's natural in you guys or not, highly recommend giving people way more than they pay for, so much more, and maybe silly not to buy from you, not to stick with you, and not to refer you. So if you want to be referred, bought, retention, results, give them way more. Now, it doesn't all need to be with your time. That's the key too. Give people way more than they pay for. Again, ask that question: why is my stuff worth 10 times what it is? But also, how can I just serve people so much that they're getting so much value, they'd be crazy not to refer me, buy from me, and of course, like me, and trust me and stay with me. It's all about giving and service. And again, give, get. Right? If you want clients, you want to get them as a client or their money, we need to give value, show something, whether it's videos or books or talks or inviting them to events or whatever it is. Give value, because people gonna want to have a reciprocity, but also it builds trust. It builds authority when you give, advice or content or whatever. Advice, authority, credibility, and trust. And those are the biggest things that I love to teach and empower people with, because, well, watch your business transform overnight.
Thank you,
So
James.
that's a little bit of that. Yeah.
You certainly walk the talk when you cover all of these things. I've had the pleasure of sitting down and having multiple conversations with you. And like I said, I leave them with, wow, I'm so impressed, and I always have follow-up. So I appreciate you joining us today, and I look forward to next time.
Myself as well. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Got it.